This is our scene in black and white, and this is our scene in color. And one of the things we're going to play around with is kind of how do you edit a scene that has stuff in it that's not really very romantic, right? And also, how do we remember how to kind of sketch things, get angles right, do all that kind of thing? So this is a very good friend of mine named Laura McIntosh, a Scottish woman who lives in northern Scotland, very far north. This is Golspie, um, and this is a view from her house. And you can see there's a few things I think we should get rid of. One is the bin. Uh, Another is maybe this telephone pole. Definitely these three lights I don't think are as interesting. So we'll work on that. But first, does anybody have questions about that? Does that make sense to you? So we're going to learn how to do this, right? What do you do when you remove things? How do you handle that? How do you deal with that? But we're going to start, of course, with the reminder of how a single vanishing point works in a lesson. Hi, Ani. Just we're going to review this lesson. So let's see here. I'm going to put this up just a little bit. Go ahead and get a sheet of paper and a pencil. It can be anything. Oh, let me send a copy of this over so you guys have it. Okay, hang on. Sorry. I'm going to send this over the WhatsApp thread so you have a copy of this. I'm hoping everybody's okay. Wait. This is a great practice in understanding perspective. Lots of people find perspective scary. I actually think perspective is like such a relief because if you know how it works, you don't have to kind of eyeball everything. And there are some rules that make things very simple for people. So I want you to start out by just drawing a little square. I'm making mine littler than this one. I don't know. When I found this out, I was like, oh, thank God. I don't have to measure everything. I just need to know where certain points go. So yeah, instead of being intimidating, it's actually pretty fantastic. And it's always good to practice. So here's the idea of single vanishing point perspective. Hold on, I'm just sharpening my pencil here, which is that once you establish the eye level horizon, this is just a bit below the halfway point, probably right there, and maybe there. Right? This is our eye level horizon. And what does that mean, the eye level? It means as we're standing and looking at something, the sky kind of meets the ground. I know there's little mountains behind this. This is called the natural horizon, but this eye level horizon is kind of and what you'll see happening is that everything that's going away from you, moving in one direction, if you want to see how it looks, it's like, here, I'll pop myself up here. Um, Everything that's moving away from you this way, right? On the paper is going this way. Um, and that's because we have cone vision. It helps. I've always had this kind of fascinating idea in my head about did we develop cone vision so that we know when things are farther away, right? They look littler, or is cone vision just something we were born with? I don't really know. It's a helpful thing to have because it's helpful to know how far away things are and how close they are to you. And the only sort of issue with it when you're drawing in 2 dimensions is you can't go this way, right? You can't go this way or this way on your paper. You can only go like this, like a windshield wiper. You can only go this way and this way. So if you understand how the translation works with perspective, then it becomes very simple. And so here's the basic rule. Things that are going away from you, right? Like this road, these lines meet at a single vanishing point. In this case, it's right in the middle of the paper of your eye level horizon, right here. So I can make a little single vanishing point. This is my vanishing point, right? Tell me if I'm going too fast or if you've got questions or this doesn't make sense to you. Does this make sense to everybody? And then here's the great thing about the vanishing point. Everything below the horizon line, which means the fence and the road lines, they start in different places. Like this road starts here and here, right? You can see that here and here. They all end at the same place. Can you see how much easier that is than trying to check and measure each angle? So here, I just have to draw a straight line starting here and ending there, and the same on this side. And then I have my road. Huzzah. The outer point of the road, right? Where these fences are, and on this side where the fences are, where the fence is, and on this side where the what do you call it? Telephone poles are. On this side, once again, I can just kind of locate where these 3 points are. And notice I do that first, and notice I want to leave enough space so I have this nice little rectangle here. And then once again, you can use I recommend using a straight edge of some kind. Here, what do I have used as a straight edge? I have another watercolor. I'll use the back of it. It doesn't really matter as long as the image is hard. So this is true of anything going the same direction away from you towards the vanishing point. There's your fence. So the other nice thing is that while the horizontal lines, meaning the lines kind of heading away from you, are the horizontal lines heading towards here all start in one place and end at the single vanishing point. The vertical lines are straight up and down. So these fence posts are straight up and down. And notice that what happens as they move farther away from you, they get closer together and skinnier. And they're straight up and down. They don't slant like this. That's not what they do. They are straight lines that go straight up and down. If you're having problems making your lines, sometimes we want to follow these lines. And so our lines, we feel like they're straight up and down, but they're not. To kind of manage that, you want to line up your straight edge so that it's straight across the bottom here or straight across the top. See how I've done that? It's not leaning. It's lined up with my bottom edge here. And that helps me make sure my lines are straight. So go ahead and get just there. Is this helpful, MC, and Anik the second time around? Anik probably the fifth time. It's like it helps, right? Because the first time you're introduced to it, you have no idea, you're trying to take in so much. Now you've had some experience. You're like, oh, now I see how this can actually help me. Right? Like you're ready for the role more than you were. Which is a weird thing and kind of great thing about art. If you want to also, you can do the same thing. It's also true of these lines, these broken lines, right, that start here. This might go straight up like that. But really, these are rectangles that follow along this line and get smaller and smaller until they almost look like they run together. The space between them gets smaller and smaller. If you want to get really anal on something like this, usually there's the distance between here and here is like half the distance. Half the distance between here and here is usually half the distance between here and here. That's how you can check it. But I don't think we need to get into that detail. We have other things to draw. So, but that's a general, like same with these guys, right? It's usually this distance is about halfway between here and here. It's almost exactly right. And that just means as it goes back, this distance is halfway between here and here. This distance is halfway between here and here. That's how you kind of measure it, but I don't want you to get into that kind of on something where obviously someone is spaced out, like it's a man-made thing and we've spaced them out. We don't have to get into that too much. Just do your best to eyeball it. And when you think you've got it to this point, send it over. And if you want to, you can also add the little horizon line, the natural horizon, which is this mountain range. So that's the eye level horizon. The natural horizon often rises above the eye level horizon. This guy right here. Everybody have a good week off? Do anything fun?
Week off?
I wasn't here last week. Sorry, week off from painting.
Week off from painting.
With me.
We didn't take a week off.
Oh, did you open the sketch? Did you open the thing?
I don't remember. Did I, Annika? Annika?
That's how busy you are. That's how busy you are.
No, we just painted on your thing. We didn't know if we should open it or not. So we
Oh, yeah.
You can always paint. You can always paint open on this one. Diana, you know that. You can always paint on this thing. Diana can totally open anytime she wants to.
No, she said she would, and then I was already like on hers, and then we ended up.
And then you just decided to do that. What are you working on?
No, I was working on it wasn't. I had it. It didn't turn out that good, but I was painting a landscape from the ocean here.
Can you show us?
Yeah.
Send it over.
So this was what I did.
Oh, wait, hold on. I want to pop that up. Oh, that's sweet. I don't know. I think it's got some good things going on. Love it.
Yeah.
You don't need so much detail with the people. They can be smaller, but I thought you handled the water well. I love the soft like bushes on the sea bushes on the sand.
Yeah.
Wow, it looks so pretty.
Yeah, it is.
It's so pretty.
Oh, my dog is trying to break in here, so I gotta let her in.
That's cute. Great work. I knew this medium would suit you, Annika. I really did. This is a definite, and particularly where you're living now, there's lots of spaces.
Yeah, there are.
I'm thinking in the summer when I have classes, I may just not teach and have you guys, I mean, I'll teach, but I'm not going to do demos. I might have you guys just pick subjects to work on and I'll help you individually. Because I think
Yeah.
it's good to decide to work on that stuff and have these conversations in the moment, right? And to kind of decide what you like. Let's see. Anik, looks good. Everybody else? Anybody else need more time? Anik, you will notice that your road is, there's going to be, you're a little bit more rectangular. You know what I would do if I were you? I would, here, I'm going to pop this up for a second and show you. I would just chop off on the right side
Yeah, a
because
little bit. Mhm,
it'll look weird. You know what I'm talking about? Do I need to show you?
mhm. No, I think that I know what you mean. On the right side, simply it's too
It's
long.
too,
Yeah.
right, it's too long. So here, let
All
me
right.
just point it, let me
Yes,
just
yes,
pull it
yes.
up really
Sure, sure.
quickly so I can show people.
Yep.
Sometimes fixes are so easy. And I'm not trying to be how do you call it? And like difficult here, like you have to do things
I know that
exactly.
you're not picking on me. I'm just tired
Yeah,
today
yeah,
from
yeah,
the
yeah.
saying,
I
and I'm
get it.
just
I
gonna be
totally
sloppy.
get it. I totally get it. That looks perfect, MC. And we'll start talking about this other side. So notice that because onyx is not a square, it's a rectangle, that this is way far in, which will mean that her line is kind of a little bit weird looking. So I'm just suggesting cut it off about here.
Yeah.
Just draw a line straight down and erase it, and that's the easiest fix. Looks great. MC, I'm very curious to know, how is this the second time around this year? And you're muted, so I can't hear you.
It's okay. I think the first time round probably took me longer. I think I found the telephone posts harder.
Right.
So we haven't got to that bit yet.
But you're going to find it easier, right?
Let's see. Let's see.
Right, right. So here's what's really interesting. What we're using here is something that I've drawn on. This line doesn't exist. So when you look, let me see if I can find the original, just to show you. I might have drawn on that too. Let's see. I trot this guy out so often. Where are you? Where are you? There's the original. Hang on just a second. It's funny, this is a book on oil painting, and I don't really actually like her oil painting instruction as much as I absolutely love her instruction on, nope, that's not it, on drawing. This woman has really got it down. And you know that a painting book is good when the drawing instruction is good, because y'all need that as much, if not more. Hang on, I'm looking for it. I've also ripped it out a bunch. So here, hold on. Where are you? I'm going to kind of show this in its original. Where? Huh, interesting. I may have finally lost that original page. But the point is, there's no, I drew this in, these lines. So these don't exist, but this is how you handle drawing. These two up here do because they're the wires, but this line down here did not exist. So how did I figure out where to put this dot? I lined up from my vanishing point to the bottom edges of this line, and I continued it. Can you see how that worked? that's how I'm able to place that line. I just go from the vanishing point down here, and this is how I know where this starts. Up here, we've got the wires, so we know where these start. But down here, I added this line. So to find it, I have to continue on at the same angle from the vanishing point to here. And then, of course, we can draw that line in. I can start with the point here. So just like the bottom of the fence here, and you can see that this starts lower than the fence. It kind of comes to here. Oops. And I'm going to draw it in and then erase it later. And it also goes up to the vanishing point. But this will help me create a kind of little umbrella, like shape in which all my figures fit. So just like this fence, the road, these all go up to the vanishing point. What happens when something rises above the eye level horizon? Well, very simply, if they're going the same direction as this, they come down to the vanishing point. So if you're drawing a building and the building, here's your horizon line and the building starts here and ends here, you draw these, the top of the building lines down, you draw the bottom of the building lines up. Same here. So I can see that these, but everything goes to that same vanishing point. So I can see that these here, and then I'm going to use my straight edge. And I'm going to draw those in. So you can see there's a real regularity to this. Every angle's different. That's the kind of bad news about perspective drawing. But the good news is you don't have to figure out the angle. You just have to figure out the vanishing point and the starting point on any thing. All right. And then once again, these lines go straight up and down, right? These are vertical lines, so they go straight up and down. So once again, I'm going to line up my straight edge so that the bottom is lined up with the bottom of my, it's not going this way, it's not going this way, it's lined up exactly. And then I know that I can draw my straight line. And because this one's fairly close, we can see the second part of it. Right, it rises a little bit above, yeah, a little bit above, I made it a little too high, a little bit above the second wire. And these horizontal lines, because they're not going this direction, they're straight, are actually also just straight horizontally across. See how that works? So the only horizontal, and you can catch them here. So the only, actually there are three little lines, if you can see, if I can get mine in, that show both the side and these. You'll stop seeing that as these things go further back. And then of course, these also get smaller. And look what happens when I try to sort of freehand draw, my line kind of drifts to the right. When you're tired, that's what happens. Right ahead. And then straight ahead. And see how I'm using this bottom and this top line. I'm using this bottom line, which I made up and drew in, and this top lines to kind of contain how long to make my verticals. Kabam, magic, perspective magic. Once you really struggle with a few of these situations, you'll understand. And then I erase this because it's not really there. Once you understand, really understand how this works, it makes your life like 2,000 times easier. The last thing you'll add in are the clouds. Why are the clouds dark on the bottom and fluffy white on the top? Because we can see two sides of them. This is another aspect of perspective. When we look at a fluffy cloud up in the sky, we think that we're just looking at something straight on, but we're not. When we're looking from the bottom, we can see two sides. We can see the bottom of the cloud, and then because it's daylight, we can see the fluffy top of the cloud. And notice that the bottom of the cloud is a different shape than the top of the cloud. So you can add those. That's also a perspective issue, a simple one. Take a look at, if you have time today, take a look at clouds and you'll see you can always, in the daytime, you can always see a lighter part on top and the darker part on the bottom. You can see it. It's subtle, but it's there. This one's farther away, so it's littler. This one we're kind of right up underneath. So we can mostly see the bottom and not as much of the top. This one's kind of a middle distance, so it's smaller than this one and bigger than this one because of its distance to us. All of this is its distance to us. So go ahead and finish the sketch. Take your time, and then we'll talk about how this applies to what we're doing. Yeah. Just checking my vanishing points to make sure. Diana, how's it going over there? You fruiting away?
I'm fruiting away and I'm doing an experiment.
What are you doing?
I'm setting up, I did the mirror where it's reflecting in the mirror, and now I'm holding up a mirror behind it so that it has double reflections. It's hard.
Interesting.
So
Better charge
here,
more for the charge.
here
more
is
for
my
the-
sketch. Here is my sketch. Can you see it?
Let's see. Hold on. I'm going to pop you up. Ooh, charge more for that one. Also, that one could use with a little bit of red in it, even though I know there's no, or orange. I
yeah.
know there's no,
Yeah.
I love it. Maybe a little bit more exaggerated in the reflection is what I'm thinking. Or maybe orangish. You know what I mean? You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I actually have planned for that on the main.
Excellent.
Yeah. And that
Diana's
I just decided to do the extra reflection, so it's just a sketch right now.
I'm going to say 99% perfect. Anik, I'm going to show you one little thing you missed. It makes a difference because it looks odd. Here, I'm going to pop it up.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm talking about? Let's see.
No, I'm not
Let's-
sure.
Tiring day. I know what it is to have a tiring day. It's really hard to concentrate. I appreciate you being here and and trying, because you're right, it's exhausting. All right. Here is Onyx 99.9% perfect drawing. You skipped the bottom here.
Yeah, right. Right. It's like
It
weird,
doesn't
yeah.
look right, right? It doesn't look right.
Yeah, it's like
This cloud
weird.
is almost exactly over us. So you
Mhm.
might think this is not a big deal. It's kind of a big deal,
Mm-hmm.
right? You miss things like that,
Yeah.
then the viewer is like, what's going on here? All right, let's see.
Yeah. Mhm.
Annika, you too. Pop it out just a little. It pops out a little bit, but bring in a little tiny line of dark right here. Otherwise, 100% perfect. These lines, you could probably, these two should be thick. And let me revisit this, Annika, because this isn't right. You have a thick one here, and then this one's should also be a little bit more like a box. And these should all be running together. So take a look at what's actually happening here in the source and try to recreate that. Otherwise, great. Good job. Think of these as a little bit like these, right? They have spaces between them. They get gradually smaller. I'm being nitpicky here because I want you to understand what you're doing. I want you to understand what you're looking at. I want you to look carefully at how things look. Yeah. Perfect, Donnie. There you go. Now it looks perfect. Absolutely perfect. Like I
you.
said, this is a lesson that sometimes you don't get the first time around because it's so huge and it involves so many things. So I like to introduce it and reintroduce it as we get more experience. Um, uh, because I just think you can learn the rule, but when you don't have a lot of experience, you don't know the mistakes that you're going to make. And then once you made a bunch of mistakes, the same mistake, then you understand the need for the rule. Like, it's funny. Drawing and painting are one of those things you cannot get away with without making a lot of mistakes. That's the only way to go through it. It's just mistake after mistake after mistake after mistake. If you make 10,000 mistakes, you're starting to get good at it. Making mistakes. Also, what Anik is pointing out is also really true. If you are tired and it's the end of a long day, it can be very hard to concentrate. And so what I want to urge you to do is do what Anik did and continue to show up even if you're exhausted. Because even if you're exhausted and you make a lot more mistakes than usual, I'm not saying you're doing that, Anik. I'm just saying it's possible because you're tired. That pushing through that exhaustion is a little bit like physical exercise, but for your brain. It's not about kind of doing it perfectly, right? It's about just doing it. Whether you want to do it or not, whether you're tired or not, the more you do it, I teach this figure. I get up at 5 in the morning and I teach a figure drawing class in the evening, once or twice a week. And I'm often drawing with my students at 6 or 6:30 to 8:30 at night. And I am always exhausted. I'd say it's some of my worst, I do some of my worst work, figure drawing. Even though I teach it, even though I know it, I had a session that was so frustrating last week that I was like ready to just pack it in. But I remembered that it's not about doing everything well. It's about showing up and doing it even if you're too tired, because that kind of push through the exhaustion is a little bit it has to do with pushing through our resistance to doing art, right? Our resistance to art. Everybody has it. In fact, there's a whole book on this called The War of Art, modeled after Lao Tzu's the Art of War. And this is the conversation that is had all the time. It's not about doing it perfectly all the time. It's allowing yourself to be pretty bad. And that can happen after many years. of doing this. You can still have nights where you're like, I just can't. I can't. And you do it anyway. And somehow all that together makes you better, a lot better. Somehow pushing through those sessions in some ways, like once you've had a sleep and can look at it, you learn so much in those sessions because you're really at the edge of what you can do. That's an uncomfortable feeling, but it's a great feeling to foster in yourself.
I say when it comes to drawing, and if you're tired, I'd say you sometimes are much better because your brains doesn't get in the way.
Sometimes that's absolutely true. And
Yeah.
sometimes, Diana, like my session last Thursday in class, you're just off. I was just awful. I couldn't get anything. It was terrible because I had a model who I knew really well who wanted me to give her one of the drawings for her husband, and I couldn't produce anything like that was worth it. I was just too tired. Sometimes it's like that pressure, that little extra pressure that will stop you from doing it. That's also okay. It's just like, it doesn't really matter. In the war of art, the whole premise of the war of art is it doesn't matter when you're doing things, are you good at it or not? The only thing that matters is, are you doing it? It doesn't matter if you do it well. And I just want to kind of make sure you guys know the value of doing it when you're not doing well, quote unquote, is like, it's very important. Let's see. So MC, did that help this time? Looks perfect. Love it.
I think it was as frustrating as the first
Why?
time.
What's the frustrating part for you?
Just trying to get the poles right,
Meaning the right distance from each other, or
or
what do
just
you mean?
looking right with the little poles that go across. That took me
So
a
you have
while.
trouble with this horizontal.
Yeah.
All right. All you need to remember, I'm gonna show you this up close while you're fresh, while this frustration is fresh with you, right? All you need to remember is it starts on one side and goes straight across. That's all you need to remember. Starts on one side. You draw the big one here, and then it starts on this side and goes straight across. So that's it. It's just a straight vertical, or it's horizontal. And the reason these are straight horizontals is that these lines are facing us, right? They're going across this way. So they're very straight. So does that help? And so the more specific we can get, the better with this. What is the thing you're having trouble with? It's not really, it's harder because it looks, anyway, it looks harder than you think it is. Remember the rule, anything that's facing us is not following to the vanishing point. It's only things that are going away from us, elements of the thing that are going away from us. And the thing that's maybe confusing for you is that this is part of the telephone pole, but it's going a different direction. Right? In a way, it's a little bit like this cube. This is the front, and this is the side. Right? It's a little bit like the cube. So everything here is in the front, and this is going a different direction than the entire telephone pole, which goes back. So this follows a different rule. As you notice, in the cube, the front part of the cube, which is just like the front part of this telephone pole, is just straight ahead. All the lines are straight up and down, as you imagine they would be. It's only the lines, it's only the side of the cube that goes back. And remember, this vertical still goes straight up and down. Does that help a little bit intellectually?
Yeah. It just doesn't look right on the paper if I do it that way.
Do you want to hold it up so I can see? I will tell you what looks right. So make this come out a little bit higher. Make this come out a little bit higher, or move it down a little bit lower. So there's two things you're doing. What you're doing is to like a little bit to this, it's this that's not wide enough. You see that? This is not wide enough. So scoot this down. What you need to do is maintain the little triangle that's here. We're spending a lot of time on this area, but I want to try and clarify this, right? There should be a little triangle of space here. If there isn't because you're too far up, that means you're too far up. Like that. Make sense?
Yeah.
So bring it down a little bit. Yeah, there we go. But also don't stress too much. We haven't even gotten to drawing the landscape yet. But I like the specificity of it because usually when you're making a drawing and it's not working out the way you think, it's not actually the thing you're drawing, it's the thing next to what you're drawing. Negative space can really help here. If you're like, I need to recreate this space right here, like this, right? This shape is as important as this shape.
Yeah.
And that tells you that if you don't have this shape right, then this is not in the right place. That sort of helps give you clues about where to put things. All right. Let's get going. I'm going to be using my hot pressed paper. Yeah. And I wanted to point out a couple of things about how the vanishing points work here. Here, hold on, I'm getting my Sharpie. So what we just drew was a very straightforward road, right? And what we can see is that the eye level is where the road meets, where the road edges meet. This is a curly Q road. Right? It's not so straightforward. But can we see where the edges of the road meet? Can you see it? Where do they meet? Here? So that's where your natural horizon is. Sorry, that's where your eye level horizon is. It's where the road kind of comes together. Now, in a lot of places, we can't even see it because it's covered by other things. That doesn't mean it's not there. So when I start this sketch, let's see, 1, 2, 3. It's about, the eye level horizon is about a quarter of the way up the page. So you also, a teacher in Armenia, one of my favorite drawing teachers ever, this is a guy named Hako Pavanesian when I lived in Armenia. And he used to tell me all the time, we didn't even speak the same language. He spoke Russian and Armenian. I spoke English and a little tiny bit of Armenian. So we would always do our lessons at this hotel in a town called Gyumri, and somebody would translate. And what he told me very early on, which I really loved, was draw what you can't see as well as what you can. So even if you can't see the horizon line, we can still sketch it. I'm going to bring mine up just a teeny bit, a titch higher. And I'm going to start by drawing it kind of like a dotted line, because I'm going to end up erasing it again. Actually, I'm going to flip this over because I got junk on it. Do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the horizon line is here, and we know that because the road ends here. So even though this road curves, and we can see kind of what's above it and what's below it. Really, there's only some key factors here. And I don't even know if I want this stuff in here. We might even just get rid of all of this and just keep this kind of little fence. So you see how this works, kind of the same. So once again, I'd say in this case, the vanishing point is not in the center. It's kind of a bit to the left. The vanishing point of these things is all here. And I can see that because I can see that's where the road ends. So I'm going to put it, I don't know, about here. Let's see. Notice that I'm always kind of measuring. Yeah. Yeah. It's probably about here. My vanishing point is here. And my end points for my roads are here and here. So I can identify my endpoints. This is up a little too high, I think. Bring it down a little bit. Here you're going to have to start estimating. I hate to say it. I can see that these roads issues, here's the vanishing point. Just put it right here. And if you go straight down, you'll see that these dots start a little to the left of the vanishing point. And then you can draw them. Sometimes it's easier to draw a curve line if you break it into straight lines that intersect. Right, like that. That helps you. Or you can try. Those straight lines show that there's a change in direction. Then I can kind of come back in and gentle these curves. See how I can just do that fairly easily. Here. I can send this across to you also. So you see this rule works even when the road isn't straight. Annika, I bet you've got a lot of views like this. That's my bet. Where you live. Or is everything more straight up and down?
You're muted.
It's pretty flat. I mean, there's not a lot of,
Everything is,
yeah.
there's
it's
not a lot of dramatic curves, curvy.
I
roads.
mean, just there's not a lot of mountains or something. I mean, it's kind of it's.
I mean, but you don't have these meandering scenes here.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. These meandering scenes are treated kind of similarly. And notice that what I'm doing here, I'm looking at this section, the middle section, And I'm realizing that it's a lot skinnier up here. So I'm actually correcting the shape of my road. See how I'm doing these little tweaks? Let me send this over to you guys so you can see it more clearly. I'm going to take a picture. But notice how I just corrected everything I did by looking at this shape. Super skinny up here. So I'm using the space in between the spaces as well to help me shape things. I think I just want to stop right here. It looks kind of cool. Take a picture of this so you can see it. Hold on, I'll bring the picture back up, but here, I want you to have a. Yeah.
Okay, I'm sending it over to you.
Okay, happy to see it.
Mirror, mirror on the wall. I see I have to fix that corner one a little bit.
Let me look. Yeah, and can you mush out the edges, soften the edge? It may not be what's happening exactly on the source, but can you soften here? Hold on, I'm going to show you even a tiny bit more. I love it. I think it's turning out great. My only suggestion would be
Okay, listening.
soften these edges even more.
Which ones?
I'm pointing.
I can't see. Oh, there. Oh, on the shadow in the background.
The reflections need to be
Yes.
soft, even though it's and you can really emphasize with those nice red lines of yours, right? This one can be a little bit stronger because it's closer to us, but these, and you know what else I would do? I would once you get all the colors in, I might blue them a little bit, do a little blue glaze, like a cobalt blue glaze, and that will also push them back a little bit from this front image.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, those are my two
Although
suggestions.
they're all mirror images, so they are.
Yeah, that would be my suggestion.
Okay, I can take that suggestion.
Yeah, I said you do not have to do it. You also know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. So, when I think about that, Diana, what I think about is you really want to separate between what's closest to you and what's farther away.
Yeah.
And even though those reflections are right there,
Yeah.
a little blue will soften them, push them back, get all the colors in.
Yeah, I have a little bit blue in it, but
I know, but a little bit of a glaze that's everywhere.
Yeah,
Because
the
remember,
glaze, I forgot about the glaze.
the glaze, you know me. Drawing
Diana,
the whip
it's been
on
1 hour and it's just after 1 hour when the word glaze came up.
right? Yeah, see, you waited a whole hour before I said, but of course she waited a whole hour to show it to me. So Diana has to admit that often the glaze is the solution. Even if she doesn't want to do
I
it.
don't admit that. I do not admit that.
I'm going to start keeping count now.
I can do a partial little glaze once in a while.
That's not true. The last painting you worked on, I had you glaze it purple and it looked perfect.
The little
admitted
lemon, yeah. Yeah.
And then you glazed orange. I mean, I'm just saying. I remember every time. I remember it. It
Every
works
time
more
because I'm so resistant, so you remember every time I glaze.
I do, and when it works. More importantly, when it works. You like to forget every time it works. Glazes really help you kind of establish where things are. Color is big in showing things looking close and farther away. When things get farther away, they get bluer. They get softer. They get, even if they're a not blue subject, they become bluer. Just actually look at this scene. Look at this. You can see it right here. These are close up and they look greener. But notice these look the greenest. These start to get green, but also a little bit bluer. And then look at what's happening at these back planes. These hills are exactly like these hills, but look at how they look. They get paler and bluer as they move farther away. Each plane gets paler and bluer, no matter what's there. This whole thing is like our far planes. And you can see it, right? That is the shape of our faraway plane. And look at how different. And even this part, maybe these are hills that might have a little, when did we visit them? Might be a little bit, not so many trees, but you can see more, you can see tons of trees back here. This is also a little bit of water.
I just thought that this painting got so boring when it was just one reflection, so that's why I put
Yeah.
another
I
reflection.
loved it. I think it's a great idea. I think it's awesome. When you guys are ready, let me know. We'll go on to the next phase. No rush here. As I said, I think we're just focusing on drawing today. We'll work on painting on the next one. And then I have kind of a surprise for our last session. I did it in the last class, and I think it'll go really well with you guys too. And I'm looking at this from the side, MC, but what I will say is I think it's slightly too high up. You have a lot of space here. Here. Can you send it turned around? I struggled to do that on this thing. Can you send it so it's right side up, and then I'll show you what I mean? If you can't, I can just pop this up. Thank you. Perfect. All right. 1, 2, 3. It's a little high up. So there's two things going on here. One is you're going to run out of space for your upper levels. Number two, here, I'm going to share this. Here. Okay. So if you can see that this is too high up, you have bushes you've got to bring up here. You've got a whole back plane. You have this whole other area, and then you've got the sky. Can you see how you're starting to run out of room? This should come down to about here. So bring this down a little bit. And actually, when you bring it down here, I think you're going to here. So bring your vanishing point to right here and run that across and then scooch these in a little bit. You're going to see your road makes more sense. I like it. Good job. There's nothing worse than running out of room on a painting. And it's very easy to make things too big. I want to do it here. 2, 3. Tell you what, MC, if it makes you feel better, I'll bring mine up a little bit while you're doing yours down so you can see. I'll show you how to do it. I'm bringing mine up. I might have made mine a little too. So I'm going to put my vanishing point up here. I'm going to kind of erase. Oh, yeah, that's going to be better. See how I can just kind of easily. It's not that hard. Look at this one. So I'm bringing mine up. MC's bringing hers down. Oh, this comes this way.
I don't like here.
There. See how I'm like just going back? I'm not married to my lines. I can fix this pretty easily. I actually like how mine looks better too. So mine was looking a little squeezed and yours was looking a little too big, MC. So now I think we're both in better shape. No, but now mine looks, I mean, it needs to be skinnier up here. There we go. Yeah, that's it. Got it. Took me a couple minutes to get it exactly right. But not too fussy, right? I'm very fast because because I do this all the time, all day long. I make a lot of mistakes all day long. So I do these lessons without practicing them first with you guys because I want you to see that no matter how experienced you are, everybody makes mistakes. The difference between me and you is that I'm so used to making mistakes. I probably made 20 on this lesson. And you may or may not have seen me because I so quickly see it the moment I lay it down. It's just part of my process. It's not really about getting it right the first time. It's about kind of knowing how to solve the problem. Oh, and that means this. There we go. There we go. Even better. I see, I just fixed another one while I was telling you that. 21. I have had it, the students who do well at this, people who are going to be good at art are the people who really embrace the idea that you're going to make mistakes. I've had one or two students in my life that just, not bad, Anik, I like it. Look at this shape a little bit. Yeah, I did the same thing here. Look at this.
Yeah.
Try to recreate this shape, but otherwise it looks pretty good. And notice Annika's already added in her little wall here, which is a very pretty element. So notice what I did when I was sketching these in. I'm just going right through that bin as if it isn't even there. Do you see that? And the wall is still, so I can see where to start. This starts here. Hold on. Make sure you guys can see this. So see, I just went right through it as if it wasn't there, all the way to the edge, actually. So I can see that this top edge comes right a little bit above my horizon line. And this bottom edge is down here. And yeah, the top edge kind of sketches in here. Now I'm drawing this line even though this wall stops here. Right? Just like I did with my telephone poles. Why am I doing that? Because here I know where my wall is contained. The wall comes, yep. So my wall, I might bring my wall a little bit over. So my wall is this straight line down. Yes. I feel like this needs to come up a little bit. There we go. Yep. My wall is kind of here, and I'm just going to carry it on. Right? As if there's no bin it all. Now, the easiest thing I can do, of course, is just do this. Just stop it right there. You can totally do that. Slice out pieces. And I'm probably not going to put these things in here either. So I think I'm just going to focus. Maybe I might put something in here, but I'm really just going to focus on this wall because the colors of the wall are so pretty. The stones are so nice. Maybe I'll make this planter like a bush that comes here. See how I'm kind of shifting this without really, you know, messing with the without really messing with the composition too much. And then of course I can erase these parts because even though this wall doesn't go to here, it still is lined up with the vanishing point. So I can follow it. That's how we use this vanishing point, regardless of whether things stay or they go. So there we are. Go ahead and see if we can get to there. Sorry, I think I might have just explained that in a stupid way. So if that doesn't make any sense to you, you just raise your hand or say, Leah, you need to explain this better. I like the idea of working through things because that helps us simplify a composition. I paint with a lot of landscape painters who are really, really good. I am not particularly a good plein air painter, but I do like to paint with them for the challenge of it. And they are always, it's funny, there's two views of landscape painting. And one is that you paint literally what's there. And the other is that you edit the composition to make it a little bit more painterly. So I know landscape painters who just are like, you have to literally do everything. I tend to find those landscapes a little stiff. I tend to like the compositions where people are editing, simplifying, taking stuff out, right? We're going to take out things here. I don't even know if we want this telephone pole. We might or we might not. You know, definitely don't want all these things. They kind of wreck the view, and we can take them out without really wrecking the composition. A painting is not a photograph.
Exactly.
Right? A painting, until 1860, the painting was the best thing we had for a photograph. So this was absolutely an untrue statement. A painting, well, they didn't know what a photograph was, but the painting was the photograph until the camera was invented. And in 1860, that started a revolution in painting. Because all of a sudden people were like, well, I guess we don't need to paint these anymore because we can take a picture in like one click. So what is a painting? And a painting is now an entirely different thing.
So I sent you where I'm at, and it looks very yellow in the front one, so I'm softening that, but it's not quite as yellow as in real life.
I like that. You can push that yellow. Remember, yellow is the first. This is great, Diana. That looks great. Do you see how that blue kind of pushes everything back and really makes that color like jump forward? I also think this will make people look at that. I think that looks great. I love it. I love the yellow, the green, the orange splash. I love that strong line. I think you've made a beautiful distinction between the subject and the reflection below, in front, and everything else, which is a little bit farther back. It's very nice. That blue glaze sure worked for you.
Yeah, it did.
Y'all heard that, right?
No, normally I would give it a new layer of paint with blue in it, but this worked.
That's still a glaze. That's still a glaze. That doesn't mean the glaze isn't successful. I cover up glazes all the time. But the glaze still shifts things in a direction. And you decide how much of it you want to keep.
Yeah.
The glaze is not the be all end all. It's just the tool to shift a entire area differently. Once you get more familiar with what's happening with color, you understand that all the colors in a composition are everywhere. So even if it's a red apple on a yellow table, there's bits of red in the yellow table and there's bits of yellow in the red apple. It's everywhere and on the wall and on everything. Another rule to understand, yellow is the first color our eye goes to on the composition. If there is not yellow, we go to the thing that's the closest to yellow, like a greenish or an ochre or something like that. So when you have yellow, this is a very bold thing Diana's doing because the yellow is very, hello, come look at me. And all of her lines need to be good because your eye goes right there. So the edges need to be strong. It needs to be more nuanced. Anywhere you've got yellow, you gotta know it's an attention getter. It's my favorite color. The photo that totally,
Yeah, I'm
for
just
sure.
playing around.
Yeah, it's a great color, but you have to be able to use it with skill because you can't, like, you'll notice her pear in the background, which is softer and less yellow, needs less detail than the pear in the front, which has all the detail. And those are things that help us push things back and forward, back and forth. Anik, are you done with that acrylic painting yet? Please tell me.
No.
Can you send us where you're at just so we can see it?
Yeah, sure. Just give me a second.
Mm-hmm.
I think you're done, Anik.
Too, but she's the only one who gets to decide. Part of this is her relaxation, right? So she could take as long as she wants on a painting. But I agree,
But
Diana.
by this time, it's frustration, so therefore it's finished.
Right, exactly. Until you can figure out the thing to do with it. I'm doing a fascinating thing right now with a lot of my big work. Work that I've painted in the last 2 years. If it hasn't sold, I'm revisiting it and changing it. And that is because I painted it all in a little tiny studio. And now I have a big giant studio with amazing light and I can step back and actually see the painting. And I'm like, oh, damn, I can fix this, that I can change this. So sometimes you're not even in the place where you can physically, right? It may not be done, but you may need time in between.
I'm doing the same thing.
Oh, that's looking great.
I'm revisiting some old ones and fixing.
Anik, what do you need to do to this? I gotta say.
So many things still.
No,
Don't overwork it.
So, yeah,
Don't overwork it. What you're doing is putting off the next one.
that's true, and that's true also. But I think that I need to still finish like the background
Got
and
it.
No.
few of the leaves.
It's
So the background looks
beautiful.
better because I glazed it green.
Yes.
I think it's perfect. I can only
It's
see,
really beautiful.
one thing that is a
Yeah.
1-minute fix, Annie, and
Yeah.
that's the stem of the mushroom.
Yes, the stem of the
Yes.
mushroom has to be
So
fixed.
that you can see that you're looking down, that we're
Mhm.
clear that we're looking down. I finally like the mushroom exactly where it is. You've got the nice bright red in areas and the darker shadowed red in other areas. It looks
Perfect.
great. Those leaves sort of curling around it, which direct you to the mushroom, are really wonderful. Remember, and I like your top. I saw that you worked on the top right background. Very nice, Anik. Good
Yep.
call.
Yep.
Did doing that poppy flower help you with that? I feel like some of the marks that you did are kind of similar to what I think Jean started with in her background and Marcy and Bettina did in their backgrounds. It's kind of helpful to see people how people handle stuff.
Yes, definitely.
Yeah. Well, that's so cool.
Thank you. I think that's one more month and I'm gonna be done.
One more mountain. Ain't no mountain high enough.
Or maybe like 100 more hours. I don't know.
No, don't do that. Don't do that.
Yeah, that's this
What
one
is
is this
the
one
next
is like
subject, Ani? What is the next one you're going to tackle?
I need something blue, and because this one is my study of the red. I wanted
Did
something
you
red.
see the picture that Annika sent over the,
Yeah.
look at the pictures that Annika sent over the thread. Annika, those pictures, can people
Mhm.
paint from them if we
Yeah.
don't decide to do one?
Though
Sure.
I'll be honest. I wanted to because all the three all those paintings that I've done of the forest are from the area are my pictures of my husband
Your
or my
Gadons,
husband's pictures
right.
of the area, and I wanted to do something blue of the area, honestly.
Oh,
So
nice.
that's it, because it's a series.
It's
And
serious, yeah.
it is located here in the area because if I ever decide to make an exhibition,
This is
and
a
I
love
actually
letter to your little forest, isn't
yeah,
it?
it's
A love
basically
letter to your forest.
you know
Oh,
because
lovely.
there is this circle
Sends me chills.
of painters in here because they are like kind of old school. They are like all educated and they feel very sophisticated and like a clique and they paint constantly, the maritime landscape. Yeah, so the
Right.
harbor, the but in very standard, boring way. I feel like you look at those things and you feel like, oh yeah, high school had its
Are you
exhibition. Yeah.
going to knock their socks off with this exhibit?
So I was like kind of several times looking at those things in different places, exhibited here, there, and so on. They are so boring, and I was thinking, this place where I live is so beautiful, and it deserves different look, not like the one that is from the school book. So yeah, kind of socks off.
Is so wonderful, Anik. I can't wait for this show. Maybe I'll come out and see it.
That would be great. Please come to Gdańsk. There's also
I
this
gotta
one.
get to LA first to one of Diane's.
Yes, definitely. You have to go to LA. And
But
one more thing that I wanted to say about this, boring scapes. I met one of the local artists, and she actually paints in a different way, also sea and boats and stuff, because she also likes sailing. She basically does sailing for fun, and she paints on all old sails of the boats. Like when they
wow,
decommission pieces and bits of the boats, she takes the textile, the piece
the
of
fabric of
wood
the
and fabric and stuff like that, and she paints on that with
wow.
acrylic. And so those paintings, honestly saying, they take a lot of space, but this is like on a fabric of the actual boat. Sometimes you can still see the numbers if those were like training boats.
Can you send
So
us some pictures,
yeah, I can find it on Facebook.
please?
But it's really like this is
It's a great
different.
idea.
Yeah, this is really
It's a
great
great
idea.
idea. You know, you're making me think of one of my favorite Hungarian painters, Csontváry, who is
Mhm.
kind of like the Van Gogh of the Hungary. He
Mhm.
painted giant paintings. Um, I believe he died, and he had a mental illness that killed him fairly
Oh.
early on. And he, in World War II, they almost used his paintings for sails for warships.
Mhm.
And
Cool.
somebody stopped them. And they
Good.
became they're stunning. They're huge. So it's kind of the opposite direction, right?
Mhm.
At the time, he was so crazy when he died. He was really hard to deal with. But let me see. I thought I have a little book of his around. Let me see. So it's the opposite direction, right? Like they were going to use his paintings as sails because they needed materials, and somebody went, "Wait a minute, don't do that."
Mm.
Rats, rats. There it is. I have one other thought where it might be. I'll be right back. Okay. How's it going over there, you guys? Are we at the point where we can add the rest of our elements? Ooh. Wow.
Yep.
Those are
Damn.
super atmospheric.
And
Wow.
and I spoke with her, and she said like she has to move very, very fast because you have to stretch this, and of course it's not as on canvas when you have a frame and so on, so it's like you move fast because it's all gets wavy with
Right.
acrylic.
I kind of like the way they're wow.
Mm.
Okay, there's one of your compadres.
Can I say something, Leah?
Yeah.
Looking at the picture that you've sent of the picture that we are painting, and there's a piece of your shirt. It looks like Jackson Pollock.
Let me see.
You're wearing a
Sorry, I'm
Jackson
still
Pollock.
looking at your friend here. So I'm like, let me get back to that here. Hold on. That is, you should have seen me yesterday. I've been working on this big project.
Mhm.
A big project.
Is this the door project?
The door project. I had to do a sample
Oh.
door, and I had paint everywhere, all over me. I couldn't find it at all.
Well, that's great.
I was like, I had to scrub it off with like a brush. It was all over my face. It was I was everywhere. Even though I was wearing clothes when I painted it, but oh my God, that project is gonna be big.
I'm trying to fix another problematic painting.
Send it over if you'd like some advice.
Yeah,
I'm gonna I'm gonna show you guys some Chont Bari while we're at it. He's a wonderful. Mhm. Here we go. And they're giant. They're just huge. One is at the Buddha Castle. A couple are at the Buddha Castle. They take up, I don't know. It's probably why they wanted to use them for ships.
Yeah, most probably.
Like, right? Let's see. Here, where are we?
That's most probably also they just decided that okay, this is degenerated art, yeah.
Right. But it's kind of magical. He has a very where? There they are. Nope. That's your woman. Let's see. Here we are. Okay. Images. Let's look at just the images. This is his work. There's a museum in Pécs, which is where he's from in the south of Hungary, where you can go see most of the work. So they did end up really appreciating him. Here he is. This is one of his.
Oh wow.
Ugh. Now, come on, don't be annoying that way. Here we go. Yeah, can you see? Very fantastical. This one is it's giant. It's just, I mean, they're huge.
Oh wow.
This one is the Mostar Bridge. Very famous during the 90s. No, this is the one. Sorry, this is the one from the, oh yeah, it's the same one, just better lighting. In the Buddha Castle. I used to go up and look at it. Aren't they crazy? Crazily good. Imagine using those as like, I don't know. Yes, anyway. He was, well, he was really hard to, it is hard. He was hard to deal with, right? Which is why. Has anybody actually sent me here? Hold on, let me take a look. Anybody sent in their work for me to take a look at? I guess not yet. While you're working on your little fence and this, anyway, that was a long way of saying, Ani, the work is coming along great. Really, really great. Good for you.
Thank you.
Going to move over to our color drawing just so we can see it. So you can see there's these kind of bushes, grasses. All we really need to do, there's this beautiful tree. The place is really beautiful. We may skip this little sliver of green. The sky is really going to be the challenge here. These are kind of the remaining lines you're going to sketch. If you don't finish, it's okay.
It just doesn't look real.
You want me to take a look, Diana?
Yeah, I'm gonna send it. I had finished it and said, okay, it's gonna have to do like this. But
And now you're feeling annoyed by it and you want
yeah,
to fit.
maybe it just might be just I don't like to give up, so but this one
Maybe you just need a little tiny tweak.
this one might be a give up on the shit.
Give up on the shit. All right.
Yeah,
My favorite, our specialty.
Yeah. Let me just get this.
Notice that as I draw in the fields in the front. I'm gonna bring this back even a little bit further. A little bit more room.
Yeah. Done. Send.
I am getting even kind of looser. Honestly, probably the next one is.
Maybe I should do a green background.
1 second and I'll be right there.
No panic whatsoever. No panic. It's
I'm kind of sketching in the cloud formations here. It sure is beautiful at this place. I'd love to go back. I've been twice. I'd love to go back. Not as much detail as I really want to go into right now. So there's mine. I'll send that to you. I want to see what Diana sent me. That's bothering you so much.
actually,
Oh, that one.
yeah, that one.
What's the thing we need to do to push it over the edge? How about switch the background color?
That's what I said. Should I do it
Say
green?
that?
Should I do
Did you
it
say green? Because I was going to tell you green.
Yeah, I did say green.
I'm sorry, I did not hear that, but I like that. Make it green. And maybe that light minty green that you like to use for your background colors, the kind of floofy.
Okay.
Yeah, I think I think they're both too dark and heavy.
Yeah.
And so something lighter.
Yeah, that's what I was feeling.
Love it. Let me send this over to you guys, my sketch. And so you can see how kind of loose this is. I'm sorry, I know I did that awfully fast. Here's where this looks. Sending this across the thread. And you don't actually have to finish this now. We can take a little time in the next lesson to finish this also. Here is my drawing. And here is not recording the picture. Here is the color sketch of the outline, photo with the outlines. There we go. Okay. I don't even necessarily have to look at them again. If your guys are like, I want to time out in between this, we can look at them next time and just work for the last 15 minutes as well as you can. Sorry, it's a little hard to see this. Notice I don't really have much detail and I've really just mostly blocked out areas. It's gonna be later. And I decided to knock out this guy. I didn't think he was helpful. I mean, a telephone pole is very helpful. Electricity pole is very helpful in terms of living in the country, but it's not super helpful in terms of looking at it. I'm now able to post, we're starting a class on Tuesday nights for drawing and painting animals. That first class was this week. So I'm about to, if anybody here wants those videos, I know many people can't make that class because it's early in the morning for you or the middle of the night for you, but I'm happy to post those here if you want them, just for the practice. Painting a cute little baby raccoon. Let's see.
I haven't done
Nice,
this,
Anik. That looks great.
thank you. I just need to finish the sky, I guess.
Got it. Annika. Anik and Annika. I got you both in. I like it. I like it. Look at how different Anik and Annika's drawings are, and yet how faithful they are to the reproduction. Great work, you guys. I would say we're just stopping here. So we'll start with colors and stuff like that next week. That's beautiful. Anik, how was this assignment for you? I like your sketch. Oh, so much. That's better, Diana. That's better. Maybe you need to soften so remember what I said about yellow?
Yeah,
How there's that dark, heavy yellow line around the top of the apple.
yeah,
It's looking a little sharp.
yeah,
And so maybe you want to soften that a
yeah,
little
yeah,
bit,
you're
like
right.
how you have it
You're right.
softened on the right edge,
Yeah, you're right.
because we see it, right?
Yeah.
And that's great. What if you put what if you also put a stem in it instead of having that black hole? What if you looked at an apple
I did,
just,
yeah, well,
I mean, it could like kind of,
yeah,
nice, MC, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. MC, don't forget to bring you've got this down underneath. Don't forget to bring this also. This tree doesn't sit here at the horizon line, it comes down below. Right? The horizon line is here. I'll put it back in. There's a horizon line. So make sure everything's above and below that. I think you've got almost everything above it, but you're settling this tree above at the horizon line, and it should go lower. That just means a little bit of this. Nice work. It's kind of fun, isn't it? Once I would and also MC, forget this. Forget the little box thing here. Do you see how that just make this a bush,
Oh,
right? Just make this a bush. Forget about the box. See how the box just doesn't look right? And we might have to add a little bit of something in here, but we're gonna play around with what that will be later. Good job, you guys. How'd that feel? Is that kind of fun? Hard work? Hard work
very
worth.
fun. Oh,
Did it help you kind of see how to simplify things a little bit while keeping everything, in the right places and, following proper perspective and all of that?
yeah,
Helpful, right?
yes.
Helpful. Using the rule to simplify. we still use this eye level to determine where things are, right? This tree comes below eye level. This part of the bush comes below eye level. Everything here is below eye level, and here too, and this is above eye level. So this is, oh, I forgot to put that in. Here, hold on. We have these vacant spaces here and here, and we're going to figure out what to do with them, how we can make them more exciting when we do our painting next week. Good work, everybody. What do y'all got going for the rest of the day? Something
Well, it's
relaxing.
night, so I'm gonna, I don't know.
I'm
Oh,
going to sleep.
yeah. I'm not quite there yet, but
Did you manage to eat your dinner, Annika?
Mhm. Yeah, it's the second time I've done that. I'm such an idiot. I mean, I should be able to plan
No,
eat
no,
before.
no. I eat while working all the time. It's easy. I don't know. I forget to eat and then get really hungry and have to eat something, or I'll feel like I'll faint.
That's not good.
Yeah.
But those paintings that you had put from Santa Fe, that there were pictures of them, were those the ones you sold? Were those the small
Some
ones?
of them,
Yeah.
some of them, yeah, some of them.
How many
Yeah,
paintings did you sell?
like 8.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, it was kind of embarrassing. I was telling Annika because I only brought small paintings. The biggest painting I bought was 12 by 12 inches. The actual painting. I could frame a couple
You were
bigger, but
traveling. You were traveling.
yeah, it was funny. Like a Fine Art Connoisseur magazine came and checked it out, and they were like, and they had just done a story on the studio. So the woman who's in one of the women who works at that magazine came, and she was like, so show me the work. And I'm starting to show her my Aunt Olive's paintings, and then she goes, no, let me see your work. And I'm like, oh. And I showed her my work, and then I realized I feel like it's just I need my big work here. I wasn't sure whether it was worth it because that costs money, to ship it and build crates and get it over. But I'm going to do 2 more shows in Santa Fe, and I think it's worth it to have that stuff
Definitely.
over there.
Yeah.
Yeah, just get it over there.
We
I have
need
like
to.
6 or 8 paintings that are big. So yeah, I sold a cactus painting and these 2 little cats that were in the marketplace in Santa Fe. I did a painting of that. I had several people who looked at a painting and did not buy it. I think it was the best painting there. And so it came back with me, but almost everything else stayed.
Which one was that?
I can show you. It's right here. Hold on. Let's see
Yeah.
if I can. This one. This one.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, this is beautiful.
Yeah.
I had a student look at it here and want it, and I told her, look, if I don't sell it in Santa Fe, I'll bring it back and you can buy it for X amount. So we'll see if she still wants it. If she doesn't want it, then I'll take it back. So I framed most of them. These are 12 by 12 inches. So this one, I mostly put them in frames that went right up around, but this one and one other, I put in like an 18 by 18 inch frame. So at least it looked bigger, but I still felt like just
But that's not,
everything
yeah,
looked
that's nice.
stupid, right? Like too small. I was like, oh no, I'm having an art show and everything is like this big.
Okay, I put in a stem.
Does it look better? Do you like it better? She doesn't know. You don't know.
I don't know. I'm gonna work a little bit more on the background, but I'm gonna
Hold it up, Diana. Just hold it up.
Yeah,
We're just
hold
right
it
now.
up is better.
Hold it up.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. I'm gonna pop it up so we can see it. Actually, I think you might have solved it. Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, I think you sit on it a little bit longer.
Yeah.
Don't muck with it anymore.
Hey,
Sunny, Sonny wants a
Sonny,
walk,
he wants to-
clearly.
it looks good. He wants to eat it. Sonny.
Everybody, was this helpful for you in terms of learning to draw, learning to simplify, knowing where to
Yeah,
start?
it was good.
Good. All
Yeah.
right. So next week we're going to have the fun of painting it. And I don't even know how it's going to turn out because I've never watercolor painted this one. So we'll see. I'll be figuring out along with you. Those little lights and
Sounds good.
yeah, we got it. We got this,
Yeah.
don't
You
we?
got this.
All right, you guys. I'll see you next week. If anybody wants the watercolor animals videos, let me know and I'll pop them on there too.
All right.
On YouTube, on the thread.
Okay.
We'll see you. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye. Have a good
Bye-bye.
weekend. Bye bye.
Bye.